Okay, looks like we are live on YouTube. And my guess is, make sure this is down on my volume. Yeah, we're live on YouTube. We're also live on Zoom for those of you in Zoom. Thank you so much for joining us today. We got a lot to talk about. We have some big milestones to celebrate here in the Vales. Starting off, of course, with the number one reason why we're all here together today, which is we have combined across all four anthologies over 50,000 downloads and reads. And that number is actually, we kind of actually left that milestone way behind. We're already up to 58,500 downloads, probably a little bit more, only because Kobo doesn't share their free ebook download numbers. We might actually already be at 60,000. So that's a huge milestone for us, considering this project, while the project's 2.5 years old, the first anthology wasn't published, or was published. Winter Tales from Cozy Vales wasn't published, maybe like 22 months ago. It's been less than 2 years since our first anthology launched. So this is huge, really big. Really appreciate all the support from our readers. And we're going to do some fun stuff today. We're going to start off, however, with some introductions. I'm just going to go around the Zoom screen on my computer here, starting with Philip and then jumping to Kim. Would you please give a quick introduction and tell us about not just your Cozy Vales writing, but your entire author career? A to Z. Leave nothing out. We only have an
Mhm.
hour.
Well, this will be quick for me. Don't worry. I'm Phillip Sanderson, and I am a math teacher. I've been teaching math for over 35 years. I'm a Cozy Vale scribe. I write in Clover Vale, and my story in the August anthology is A Stranger in Clover Vale, and it's my third entry, so it's my third consecutive one. I was not part of the scribes for the first one, but I managed to get into the second one, and I've been writing in there ever since, and loving the cozy vibe that we do. I really started writing in earnest maybe 2, 3 years ago. Developed a website, developed a newsletter, and I've been kind of trying to hone some skills through short stories. I've got a short story that I hope to be publishing in the next 3 weeks. So I'm really excited about it. I've gotten great feedback on it. So I've worked with Get Covers. So it's a long short story. It's going to be about 10,000 words, but we're going to do this thing as if it's my trial run with the publishing world. And I'm going to hopefully get Scott to help me navigate some of the pitfalls later on and use his experience because he's been a tremendous mentor to me. But I'm working on a number of different projects, but right now my focus is on getting this long short story out the door and seeing what it does. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm happy to walk you right into every pitfall, man. I know where they're all they're all located.
Many thanks.
Congratulations, by the way. And you're doing this part-time. You got a full-time job that's got nothing to do with writing. So you've done all of this on the side, which is equally impressive.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Philip. We'll do jump to Kim and then to Kit.
Hi, I'm Kim. I'm based in New Zealand. I started writing in 2015. We spent a year in France as a family, and it was just something that I could do from there. I started blogging as a travel writer, and then started self-publishing in 2020 during the COVID lockdowns with a group of lovely New Zealand writers. We all wrote witchy fiction together, and that was a really good introduction to sort of group projects, group fantasy projects. And so I've got two series now. I've got light witchy fiction set in New Zealand, and I've got paranormal cozy mysteries set in a charming English village, which is sort of like a magical version of Midsummer Mysteries.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I love having your voice here in the Vales for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. We'll jump to Kit and then to Bonnie.
Hi, I'm Kit Muse, and I have been writing. I've been published for over 20 years, but for fantasy, I've pretty much been published since about 2018, 2019, although I was writing fantasy before that as well. I write equestrian fiction, so the horses are a big thing in all my stories. My Vale is Thundering Grass Vale, which has horses, and my current world is kind of just a mixture of magic and music overlaid our own that I write my own stories in.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, you came in, I think this is your first cozy fantasy, right? So you're jumping into the genre from scratch and then jumping into a shared world that you didn't create, and then you're contributing your own veil, which has been amazing. I don't know that we've had an equestrian focused veil before, so it was great to have that addition. Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. We're gonna go to Bonnie and then Selena.
Hi, I'm Bonnie, and I've got a story in each of the Cozy Vales anthologies. I'm very lucky to have that. Outside of Cozy Vales, I write middle grade chapter books. They're super cute. They're about puppies and kittens and Christmas time and all that good stuff. You can find out more about my writing on my website, and I'm looking forward to writing more stories in the Cozy Vales world.
What's your website, Bonnie?
Oh, it's bonnieaxton.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Yeah, great to have you here too. Selena and then Mary, and then I'll round us out.
Hi, I'm Selina Eckert. I've been published for about 5, 6 years now. I didn't start in cozy fantasy, but I moved into it kind of around the pandemic. Started with more of like an urban cozy fantasy, which is the Hijinks series, but now working with Cozy Vales. I have Honey Hive Veil, which is a very like floral bee, honey, springy kind of veil. Um, so for the anthologies, I have two sets of characters. I have Farron and her family who sell flowers, and then I have Letty, who is a dragon who can shapeshift into like a human form. So for the autumn anthology, I focused on Farron's group of family and friends. So if you want to find out more about any of my books, you can look at my website, selinajeckert.com.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's been great seeing I mean, again, like we talked about the equestrian themed veil, and you were like, I'm going to come in and do all about bees and pollen and honey. And it was just like every scribe's kind of taken their own little focus, their personal interest, and then somehow developed it into, in many cases, its own veil with its own characters, which I absolutely love. So I always love reading your stories because I love honey. Thanks so much, Selena. We're going to jump to Mary, and then I'll round us out.
Hi, I'm Mary, and I'm just starting out in the Vales with my new story in Cypress Vale. And then I also write Nerdy Elf Romance for Teens, which is the Valley Glen Elves series. And my website is addingcolortolife.com, but I'm going to drop the website in the chat right now for the direct link to my Elfie books. And then in my elf universe, it's very connected to the ecology and the plants and flora of the California natural habitats with a magical overlay. But the only area I've been curious about that I haven't been writing about, I write about the valley, the mountains, things like that. We're getting into the desert. But I don't have anything coastal. So Cypress Vale is my little expression of like the Central California coast with a magical overlay of cozy fantasy. Um, it's, Monterey is famous for the cypress trees and oh, I better not. Sandpiper Cove is where it's set, and I have my trivia question about that, so I better not spoil it. But yeah, it's my expression of getting to play around with the coastal vibe and that cold, rocky California coast as it's a very magical place to visit, even in real life. So adding that magical overlay.
Yeah, love that addition as well, that new veil too. And yeah, the I love that you pulled so much from real, I guess fauna. I always get these confused. Flora? Is it flora?
A
I
lot
think
of
it's
flora and whatever mushrooms are. I don't
yeah.
know if it has a special name. Probably it was called flora back then. But yeah,
Yeah.
the magical elements with like pixies and stuff, but
Yeah.
with actual plants. And I've learned a lot about medicinal plants in this adventure.
As have we. Everyone who's done all the canonical reads of your stories, we've learned as well. So appreciate you being here as well, Mary. Great to have your voice in the Vales. I've been writing full time for about 6 years. That changed earlier this year. I'm writing part time. I did a lot of urban fantasy writing. I've got two complete series and then a couple of anthologies and a
Yeah.
standalone book in the urban fantasy series genre. And then I also have, of course, a short story in every single anthology for Cozy Vales, as well as book one in a cozy fantasy series set in my Vale, which is called Summerfrost Vale. And it's also set, all of the stories are set in the small village of Appleton in the northwest corner
Yeah,
of
because this is
Summerfrost.
live.
Oh, hang on one second. There we go. Um, and essentially, I've been doing Cozy Vales for the last couple of years and have absolutely loved it. Loved having all of the different authors join us along the way. I can't mention names because it's not totally official, but we've got some new scribes coming on board late this year, which I hope all of them will be joining the next anthology, possibly anthologies next year. We're still working on that. So the number of scribes continues to grow in the Vales. We're very excited about that. You can find everything about my books at scottiswriting.com. You can also find all of my anthology short stories and my novel at cozyvales.com. So that's it for intros. I'm going to quickly recognize we've got Aaron, we've got Raylene here. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are also live streaming to YouTube. So this is not just going to be on Zoom. We're live streaming this to our YouTube channel as well, just FYI. We're going to jump to some behind the scenes behind Autumn Tales stories because every scribe on this particular call has contributed a short story to Autumn Tales. So we're going to go round robin real quick and see if you can, well, we're going to have the scribes basically share either some inspiration or some behind the scenes bit of trivia about their Autumn Tales story. So start off with the title of your short story, a quick synopsis without spoilers, and then give us a little bit of behind the scenes about how the story came to be. Again, I'm going to go through the same order, starting with Philip and then jumping to Kim.
Okay, so Clovervale, I conceived the idea was that people come to Clovervale for a reason, that the Vale is somewhat sentient and pulls people who need a place to be. It doesn't pull people who are already happy, but anybody who's looking for their home, looking for a spot. Clovervale kind of calls to them and attracts them. So my idea was behind this story, what if I had somebody show up in Clovervale who didn't know why they were there? Somebody comes up and I've got a character that comes in and he has amnesia. He has no idea what he did in his life, doesn't know his name, doesn't know anything, and we know that he's there for a reason, but we don't know what the reason is. And the story is him about exploring Clovervale, looking around, trying some different things with different levels of success or not success, failure in the case, and then finding his place. I love the trope of found family. That makes me happy, and it works really well in Clovervale. So one of the things that I hope comes out with all my stories, whether it's in the cozy fiction or not, is I love names. And maybe that's from my childhood growing up loving Tolkien, because Tolkien was a name guy. He started off with names and he built his stories because of the words he created and because of the names, not in reverse. So when I was looking for what can we name my main character who doesn't know what he is, I looked up the Latin for wanderer. You've got this character who's a wanderer of sorts, and it turns out that the name is Vegas, Vagus. And so that's what we ended up naming him. The mayor of Clovervale is like, well, I've got to call you something. How does this suit you? And he doesn't know why he's being named Vegas, but he takes it. And the rest of the story is with him as Vegas. Um, the wanderer. So I like that idea that somebody's wandering, looking for their home, looking for the place, and he finds his place finally at the end of the story. He finds what he's supposed to be doing in Clovervale and why Clovervale called him to be there. So
I don't know that I knew that. I mean, you and I were working on that story behind the scenes for weeks, maybe months. I
yeah,
don't know that I knew that particular trivia.
it's one of the things I like to do is I like to look up, what other languages, how do things translate and try to bring them in if something doesn't strike me already. But I also come up with silly names. There's a character named Manny Muttermoof in the story, and I just love names and I enjoy it. I get a kick out of it. So it's
That's
good.
awesome. Thank you much. Thank you so much for sharing on
Yep.
that. And I loved all the stories in Autumn Tales, but I liked how you kind of used this to try to pry into a little bit of I don't want to spoil it because I'm not even sure I know all the details, but the mystery behind why your veil operates the way it does. So it was
I'm
great.
trying to figure out how to drop that story that kind of reveals a little bit more. And I think that's what my next Cozy Vale story will be, is just peeling back a little bit of the layers for how is Clovervale an entirely semi-sentient vale? How did that start? What's the magic behind that?
I'm looking forward to discovering that too.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. Okay, things have jumped around on my screen, so I think I said I'm going to go to Selena next, and then I'll go to Kim, I think.
Sure.
Did I get that wrong?
I think it was Kim next. I was pretty
Okay,
far
all
down
right,
in the
sorry,
list.
sorry. Things are kind of, for some reason, Zoom's pushing the boxes all around. So and again, time zone challenge, just got back from a very long trip from Europe, which was amazing, but my body and my soul are still like 10 time zones away. All right, we'll just do this. Selena, why don't you take us next, and then we'll go to Kim, and then we'll go after that.
Sure. So I guess with Honey Hive Vale, just in general, I was focused on the whole breadth of flora and like bees and pollinators and the importance that all of those things play together. I'm a biologist by trade, so I love the natural world and learning more about life and science and all of that. So in this story in particular, Moonbells and Maidens is what it's called. I was really focused in on the idea of these plants that only bloom for a single day. And sometimes this only happens like once every few years or few decades or something like that. So in this story, I have festivals overlapping. We have the Harvest of Hope, which is kind of like a Vales wide festival. And then we have the Moonbell Festival, which is specific to Honey Hive Vale itself. So this festival that is specific to the Vale focuses on these special moonbell plants that only bloom once every 10 years. So it's this huge event. Everyone kind of flocks from around the Vale. And it's just a great celebration of like renewal and good luck and prosperity for the Vale itself. I won't get into all of the special events that go on, but part of the story itself is Farron's sister being named the Moonbell Maiden, and that's kind of like the MC for all of the events. So,
Very cool. Yeah, well, and again, I think all of the stories that each of you contribute in some way deepen the lore, the mythology, the culture, the history of your Vales. And so it was great to have you propose this new event, this holiday, and then have us learn a little bit more about how that works and how that plays out. So it was awesome. I love reading your story as well. Thanks for sharing that. Kim and then Kit.
My story was called The Fusty Spell Patches, and it's a nice little mystery with two friends who perhaps one of them wants to take it a bit further, and it's just sort of a developing relationship. And I started off wanting to write about a magical repair guild, and just had this idea where anything could be repaired, and it just made it a lot more valuable or expensive once it was repaired. And then I thought there'd probably be quite a lot of like crime around that because people would cotton on to it. And so it's got my character called Sierra, who used to be a thief, and she helps them out as a consultant. And they have to find these objects that have been repaired, and if they get stolen, and there's a way to find them is they put a little hex on them, like a trace of a hex, and so they find the objects that way. So yeah, so that's what happens in my story.
Yeah, when you I don't know, I think I got the first version of your story. I don't think I knew much about it. I think you proposed some one or two pieces of new canon for your story. And I just remember the first time I came across the concept of, yeah, they fix things, but it doesn't always go exactly the way you think it goes. There's this like extra like element of somewhat randomness in it. And the whole
Yes.
concept behind I was like, I'm in. I don't know what the story is. I just put that concept, like I'm totally sold on the concept.
Yeah, and the phrase "the fusty spell patches" just sort of came to me
Yeah.
as I was like waking up one morning. I was like, "What does that mean?" And yeah, so the fusty thing is like this pervasive smell that's all around the guild from the things that they use to repair the objects.
All right, so you literally had an inspiration for this phrase, had no idea what it was, and then your story was
Yeah.
an attempt to figure out what that was. That's awesome. That's so cool. All right, thanks for sharing that, Kim. We'll jump to Kit and then Bonnie.
Thank you. So my story is called A Cat in the Hay, which doesn't give anything away at all, I promise. But it features a half goblin, half halfling named Gorg, who came to the Vale because he didn't quite fit in, and he is just kind of looking for his place. He enters a contest and thinks that if he can win, then he'll show that he belongs there. He does not win, but what happens next kind of proves he was meant to be there all along.
Yeah, it's a sweet story. It's a really sweet, and we should mention, um, you have a new short story that's out of a novella, I should say. It's a novella. It's a proper novella, yeah.
Yeah, it's a novella.
And then that's available for free where?
That's available for free on my website at kitauthor.com/gorg free. I'll put that in the chat. And I'm hoping by the end of November to have the next novella in the series. Um, I love writing about Gorg, and I've gotten quite a few sweet comments about readers loving Gorg. So hopefully Gorg's going to stick around for a while.
We certainly hope so. We certainly hope so. And then the story that just came out was remind us of the name.
Of Ponies and Puppies.
And that is essentially a continuation of Cat in the Hay, correct?
Correct.
All right,
Yes.
that's awesome. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to learning more about Gorg. I've already enjoyed his journey so far. And I think I got to read, I think I read the third one too, right? Yeah. So okay, I'm a little ahead. She hasn't really, I'm sorry, Kid hasn't released the third book yet. And so I got to read it like early, I guess. And I'm loving Gorg's journey and his adventure, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Thanks so much. We'll do Bonnie and then Mary.
Okay, my story is the autumn delivery, and the super cool thing about Cozy Vales is that it's a shared world. And the inspiration for my story was Scott wrote a piece in Tara's guide about my vale, Medlar Vale, and in
Mhm.
it, Tara travels through the vale on the river, and she watches a member of the crew jump on the shore, grab a package, grab the money, jump back on the boat again without the boat even really stopping. And I don't know, I really loved that image of somebody doing that. And when I was kicking around ideas for my autumn tale story, it popped up. I love rivers. I love the water. I love being on boats and things. And I thought, what if one of these boats picked up a weird package? What if there was something strange or magical in one of these packages? And that's where my story started off and came from. So, and I love found family as well. And so sort of a found family feeling on the boat, and young Sam finding his place while realizing the place he already has, that kind of thing.
I think it's really interesting that, first off, I'm super humbled that that was an inspiration for your story. But I feel like that happens all the time. We're constantly grabbing each other's little bits of world building. I know that Kim created the Heart of the Vale magic hot chocolate drink, and I just fell in love with that concept right off the bat. And I was like, well, that has to go in my short story for Winter Tales #1. So I am always looking for ways to pull other things into my stories that many of you have created. My most recent short story, the one in Autumn Tales, which is called An Ale for Autumn, features the thornberry syrup from one of the other veils. And that I didn't create that syrup, but I was like, oh, I'm going to make sure that it has an appearance in my short stories. So I've got a character who orders pancakes with thornberry syrup, which is awesome. And I just love being able to, it's part of the benefit of a shared world is we were able to grab lots of different things and put them into our own stories, even if we didn't create them. So yeah, and I loved your story. Yeah, it was a bit of a mystery, a little bit of a, not so much the crime mystery that Kim's story was, but it's definitely more of a mystery, like what is going on? What have we gotten ourselves into? Still cozy, still cozy. There's no, horror, high stakes elements to it, but it's a fun read. Awesome. Thanks, Bonnie. We'll jump to Mary and then I'll round this out.
So speaking of stealing stuff from the Cozy Vales ideas. My behind the scenes fact is my story takes place in Cypress Vale, which is a coastal city. And we start off seeing Penny she's a city girl coming from the city. She's never been to this coastal vale before. It's all new for her. The whole scene is new and it's awfully crowded in town. So she's found out that she's inherited her mentor's estate when he passed away. And she hasn't seen him for a while. She hasn't really been in the magical world. She's had some trouble with her magic over the last few years, and she's not sure how to fix it. And she's trying to claim his estate, and she can't even get in the front door. So she takes that adventure of figuring out how to unlock this sentient magical tower with the help of a grumpy lighthouse keeper. His name is Alec, and he has quite a seedy backstory that we haven't learned yet, but we'll be learning more about in future stories. But the two of them work together. He's very grumpy, but he knows that she's trying her best to get this old wizard's tower to cooperate, and he really respected his neighbor the wizard. And one thing special about this wizard is he's deaf, and I've never written a deaf character before. I work in the deaf community as an ASL interpreter, and when I saw in the Cozy Vales book of information that we already had a sign language in this world, they do air tracing, somebody had already created that, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to have a deaf character. And so her mentor is a deaf professor at in Capitol Vale, and she worked with him many years ago. He's very involved in the deaf community in Capitol Vale, and she became fluent in sign language or air tracing in this universe because of working with him. And so that's an element that I'd like to explore more, but we see a little bit because the tower speaks air tracing as well, because that's how the wizard communicated with his tower as well. So that's just one element that I saw in the Cozy Vales Encyclopedia, and I pulled that element into the story. And it's exciting for me because I've never really felt comfortable writing a main character who's deaf, but I certainly know a lot about being someone like Penny, who's in the deaf community but not deaf herself, and like a second language learner to a signed language. So that's been fun for me.
It's been fun for us too, because again, I don't think we've had anyone, embrace the deaf community to the way you have and have them represented in our stories. So I love it. The diversity and the creativity that everybody brings, often combined with your personal background and or passion. So I'm not a huge beer lover, but I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, I mean, in a basically one of the things that I love about Cozy Vales is that every scribe brings something new, something different. It's their own writing voice, their own writing tone, and all of you end up contributing and proposing new canon for the world, for all of us to play with. That is unique. That I mean, I could spend a million years and I would not have come up with a sentient veil or the kind of sentient tower that you've created, Mary, or any of the other things that all of you have created. So it's been so much fun. I get inspired when I see new posts in our Discord server for like, I want this to be official. And I'm like, great, that sounds awesome. Let's make that happen. I personally have got a story in Autumn Tales called An Ale for Autumn. Mine was inspired mostly by this idea of The Odd Couple, which was a TV show that I barely remember when I was young because I was very, very young when it aired. But this idea of two characters, one old and grumpy and somewhat cynical and kind of a recluse, and then someone on the younger side who's fresh and eager and wide-eyed and super energetic and is just like feels like the world is at his feet and goes to this older character for inspiration or for some instruction or some guidance. And the older character just has zero interest in it. But over the course of the story, the younger character kind of draws the older character out of their self-imposed, I guess, recluse lifestyle, if you will, and kind of pulls them back into life, if you will. So for me, that was the inspiration. I didn't have much more to go on other than that when I sat down and started writing it. I had a lovely reader named Fee Pilgrim message me and say, "Oh my gosh, this had total Shrek and Donkey vibes. And I didn't use that. Like that wasn't at all on my radar, but looking back on it retroactively, it absolutely applies to this story. And that's definitely the vibe that I have here. So there's a lot of humor in my story as well. So that was the inspiration for mine. Even though I'm not a huge beer drinker, but I loved diving into the history of how beer was made, how old it's been around, and how it's changed. The technology has changed over time, and just trying to understand the difference between, say, mead and ale and beer was a lot of fun. I think most writers will agree that research is our Achilles heel, and that when we get into writing a story and some idea crops up, we often stop and say, well, how would this really work? Or how does this work in our real world? And then 4 hours later, our Google history is filled with a whole bunch of expressions and phrases we've been trying to dive into. I definitely went down the rabbit hole on beer, but that also wound up becoming a great contribution back to the official lore for Cozy Vales, because now we have a couple of new beer related guilds in our canon book and some more history about when beer was invented in Cozy Vales. So that's my inspiration for my story. I see Julia's joined. Thanks so much, Julia. Appreciate that. At this point, we're going to talk about some autumn traditions. And for this go round, just share something that you love about autumn. And I'm also going to invite Erin and Raylene and Julia, if you want to jump in, you don't have to, but if you want to jump in and share your favorite autumn traditions, that'd be great too. Starting with Philip and then Kim. Lead us off, sir.
People ask me all the time what my favorite season is, and I don't have a favorite season. My favorite time of the year is the change in seasons. I love whatever the transition is from the summer to fall or fall to winter. That's a lot of fun for me. But I have a tradition at my school since I'm a teacher. We're allowed to do kind of a casual Friday at school, wear jeans. But when the weather turns cool, I encourage Flannel Friday. So I have a collection of flannel shirts in my closet, and I break them out on Fridays, and the students can join me. And sometimes I get two students, sometimes I get a dozen students. And we all wear flannel and we're cozy and warm. And I just love the vibe that it gives. And I love the fact that the students have something to look forward to that's fun and silly and just maybe not what they would get to not get to do normally. So I teach at a regional program instead of a traditional school. So it's just fun. So Flannel Friday is one of my traditions that I've created.
Oh man, I love that. I want to say, please inject some version of that into the Cozy Vales lore somehow. I'm not going to say
I
you
can
have
do.
to, but that would be super cool. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Kim and then Kit.
So with autumn, the thing I really love is seeing the leaves change and all the beautiful colours, the russets and reds and everything. But in this upside down land in New Zealand, we have got Easter in autumn. So our family has a tradition of doing like a really hard Easter hunt where we have our own specific set of like cryptic clues for each person. It's very difficult and takes a long time.
Is that something that like, is that common or is that something
No,
just your family does?
just our family, yeah.
Okay, I got it. That's awesome. So is there like a winner? How's that work?
Well, basically, the person who finishes first gets to just laugh at everybody else who's still going.
I love
So
that.
that's a
Again,
winner,
I
I
would
guess,
love some
in some
version of
way.
this to be in Cozy Vales.
I'll try and put it in there somehow. Yeah.
Just add it to the growing list of things to do in the Vales. Thanks, Kim. Appreciate that. Jump to Kit and then to Bonnie.
So I am a huge fan of pumpkin spice everything. So that's what I love about fall, pumpkin spice coffee. There is a great recipe on a blog, and it's for pumpkin chocolate chip bars that are made with like cake flour. So they've got kind of a denser texture to them. And I bake those like once a week for like the entire season.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. You must love those. Okay. Well, kid, I wonder, like, is there a recipe you can share? Can
I
you?
can I can probably grab the link real quick and put it in the chat.
Well, that, or we can put it after the live stream is finished on YouTube. I can go back and drop it in the description too. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks. Just and we might even share with the newsletter on the November 1st newsletter too. So thanks. That's awesome. So yeah, you must absolutely be in heaven right now. Thanks for sharing, Kit. We're gonna jump to Bonnie and then to Selena.
I have a golden retriever who is behind me and might come and say hello, Bubba. Will you come and say hello? No, she is having a kip. Oh, you got say hello. And
Oh,
she doesn't like the summer heat too much. So all summer, she spends all summer just kind of like loafing about, and we have walks in the evening and the morning when it's cooler. But in autumn time, when we get that change in the air, she can tell right away, and it's like she gets a brand new life in her. And every walk we go out on, she's super lively, and she loves it when the wind's blowing her ears, the leaves are falling down. So my favorite thing about autumn is lovely long walks in the countryside with Beauty Bell, and then coming home, being all cold and wet and getting nice and warm, putting some dry clothes on and having something hot to drink.
and that sounds perfect. That sounds perfect. We just got a lab. We have our first big dog in our family, and we got her, I want to say February, mid-February this year. And I've never, had a big dog ever. And so it was a very it's a big change. It's a big change from all the small teacup terriers and Maltese that we've had. And but I love it because labs have this like much like golden retrievers, super friendly personality, always up for whatever, just a super like always happy personality. So, and loves walking. So I can only imagine what it's like. Thank you for sharing that, Bonnie. We'll jump to Selena and then Mary.
There's probably a lot of things that I could say. I love fall. It's my favorite time of year. I know that's the same for a lot of people, but one of the things that I get really excited for is breaking out my sweaters. Um, I'm not wearing one today because baby, but uh, I have probably a too large sweater collection. So I get very excited to start wearing my sweaters again and wear them for as long as I can through the winter. So
There are never enough sweaters, Selena. Period.
there are enough when you run out of storage space.
That's why we have storage sites off site.
Eh,
This is a solvable problem. That's all I'm saying. All right, I love
fair.
sweaters. I love sweaters too. And by the way, since you mentioned it, congratulations on the recent addition to your family. Selena had her first child last month, so I'm very, very excited about that.
Thanks.
Thank you for sharing. We'll jump to Mary and then Aaron. After Mary, if you feel like participating, great. No pressure to do so.
Around here, we have an event up in the foothills. There's a lot of apple orchards. It's called Apple Hill, and they have like cider mills and apple spice donuts and stuff. And I go up there with a group of friends that I used to work with and do cider tasting and all different sorts of things. And they have like apple milkshakes and just all sorts of fall fun. And I don't know, it's like wine tasting where you go to the different ones, but it's like apple stuff.
I just had a complete idea for one of my characters. So my character, Jennifer Wells, is a baker in Appleton, which is surrounded by apple orchards. And I now she now must bake apple spice donuts. That is going to happen in the next story with Jennifer. Thank you so much, Mary. I appreciate that. So do you do anything in terms of just like at home? Do you bake anything like kid, or are you just enjoying what is being produced seasonally?
I don't know. I'm not a big baker, but we live in a walnut orchard. So for us, harvest is like for real harvest. So I'm out there walking my dog and like there's walnuts everywhere. So that's kind of the feel in the orchard right now. It's like a tripping hazard, but we should have harvest any day now. You feel like the shakers come and like your whole house shakes. So that's our big fall event here at home.
I had no idea. That's so cool. I'm glad I asked. Yeah, the videos of those little pincher machines shaking the tree. That's insane. I never would
In
have
my
come up with that.
driveway, it's like, yeah.
All right, I want a video of that if you can make it happen. That's awesome. Thanks, Mary. Aaron, do you feel like sharing an autumn tradition that you enjoy?
Sure. Autumn is probably my favorite season. Um, Summers are pretty crazy around here. I live in New England in a coastal area, and autumn's when things kind of quiet down and start to settle in. And I knit year round, but there's something about when the weather starts getting cool and you get the heavier yarns to break out and the wools that just makes things really nice and you kind of cozy up in them.
That sounds amazing. I love that. I absolutely love that. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate that. Raylene, do you want to share something about your favorite autumn tradition? Oh, still muted.
Can
Oh,
you
there
hear
you go.
me?
Yeah, we sure can.
Okay, there we go. Okay. My favorite autumn is just like watching the colors change on the leaves. I think that's my favorite part of autumn. The cooler weather. Of course, we don't get cooler weather till almost December most time of year, but I live in southern Illinois, so yeah, we kind of stay pretty warm until about mid-November, I guess.
But you
But
get snow up there,
um,
right? In the wintertime?
not much.
Oh,
Not
wow.
much. We're really in the very bottom tip of Illinois. So
Ah,
we're in the,
gotcha.
I mean, so yeah, we're really southern Illinois. So we don't get
Gotcha.
much. We've had since we moved here, we've had a couple of real good snowstorms, but not, and we've been here for 12 years. So,
But not every
but
year.
no, not every year. Our first year here, we had a really good snowstorm, and we had a little Shih Tzu at the time, and she loves the snow. She loved the snow. And my husband went to take her out for a walk, and she was just jumping through the snow like a bunny rabbit. And she got down to the end of the driveway. She was like looking around. She said, and headed back to the house. But no, fall, it's pumpkin season, it's time to get the pumpkin pies going and start getting prepped for Thanksgiving. And I have to say, Thanksgiving, Christmas are my favorite holidays because it's family. It's sharing, it's giving. So my oldest child, her favorite holiday was Halloween. So she passed away a few years ago, but
Mhm.
she so we always go at Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, they're all the holidays. So, but yeah,
I'm so
those are
sorry
what
about
my
I'm
favorite
so sorry
things
about your
about.
loss, but she wasn't alone. A lot of people love Halloween,
Yeah, my grandkids live with me. They're starting to get excited for Halloween and stuff now. So,
for
and they're
sure.
teenagers. So
Well, I was
but they
trick-or-treating
still get
probably
excited.
I was trick-or-treating probably older than I should have. That's
I was
okay.
too. Yeah, I think so.
I
Uh,
mean, what's the worst that
yeah,
can happen? They say no candy, like whatever. Thanks so much for
yeah.
sharing. We're gonna do
Thank you.
a little bit of trivia here. So Aaron and Raylene, what we'll do is we'll ask a question. If you haven't read Autumn Tales yet, no problem. But we're gonna have each of the
I
scribes.
haven't yet.
What's up,
Did you
Philip?
did you give your tradition?
Oh, I did not. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Philip. I so many traditions. Really to your point, like I love the holidays. Love, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. Like for me, this is my jam. This is my favorite time of the year. And uh, if I had to pick one tradition, I grew up on the East Coast. I'm from Virginia, where it gets, not super, super cold, but cold enough, way warm or way colder than it is out here in LA. So I grew up with a love of wood fires and that smell, that smoky smell in the air when everybody's got a fire going in their chimney and walking around the neighborhood. Leaves are changed colors and there's a slight breeze in the air and you're bundled up with your gloves or your scarf or your jacket. Like for me, like I just love, love, love autumn. So I was super excited when we had Autumn Tales come up as a potential theme for our anthology. So that's my big, if I had to pick one, it's literally like at night making a fire, watching a movie, having dinner with the family in the family room, and just being able to enjoy the crackle and the smell of a live wood fire, which I know it's not ecologically great, but like, I'm sorry, that's what I love. That's what I love.
Scott,
Yeah.
will you be dressing up this year for Halloween?
It's almost like you know something, Philip. Did you want to say something?
I I've seen some photos, just some Facebook posts. It,
I
it's
have no
there,
idea what you're
there's a
talking about.
tradition there. Is there a
What what
tradition, Scott?
what tradition might you be talking about?
There might be a stormtrooper. Well, it's not a stormtrooper because you got to get it right because Scott is an avid fan of Star Wars. And is it a sand trooper costume?
It is indeed. Well done. It is indeed. I have both. Technically, I have one of each, but the one I prefer to wear is a sand trooper costume. And
Full
I don't,
head to toe sand
yeah.
trooper. Somewhere there's a photo of Scott dressed as a sand trooper pulling a pizza out of an oven. And
Yes, that was from a couple of years ago.
I remember it.
We went over to friends of ours who have a huge pizza oven, and it was like our family and their family, and some other friends hanging out. And I don't know why it was Halloween. I mean, there was a reason, but I dressed up, and then my friend was like, "Well, why don't you try cooking a pizza with the long wooden handle and the paddle?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Way harder to do when you're in a sand trooper costume. I'll just say that way harder. Yes, I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that because I'm going to be heading to Vegas for
Wow.
two back-to-back author-related conferences, and I have done it in the past at the author conference I have been going to. I have done that once or twice, but it's a massive box to take the entire armor costume with me, and it takes like a half hour to put on and a half hour to take off. So I don't know that I'm going to be doing that, even though it feels like I absolutely should be. I don't think it's going to be happening this year. We'll see. We'll see. But thank you for asking. Um, so yes, there we go. Let's do some trivia. Let's do some trivia here. We'll start with Philip, and then we'll go to Kim. We're going to be doing some trivia. Please, because Raylene said she's not read Autumn Tales. No spoilers. So let's do some trivia though for each of our stories. Philip, would you like to lead us off?
I think my trivia question I had written would be a spoiler.
Ooh, then let's not do that.
Ooh,
I'll
so
come back to you. I'll come back to you.
come back.
Okay. Kim, how about you?
I think mine is kind of a spoiler as well, but
Okay, we'll come back to
I'm
you.
gonna do it. No, I'm gonna do it.
Okay,
It's
okay.
fine. Which object gets spell patched in my story, The Fusty Spell Patches?
Ooh, I'm not even sure I remember that. I don't know. Aaron, Raylene, any ideas? Well, Raylene probably won't know because you haven't read Autumn Tales. Okay. Aaron?
I want to say, was it a necklace or a locket?
No
Sure
way.
was.
Awesome. Great job, Aaron. Great job. Okay. So Kim, thank you for that. Philip, are you ready? No. Okay. We'll go to Kit, and then we'll check on Philip, and if not Philip, we'll go to Bonnie.
So my question is, what type of contest does Gord enter?
What type of what?
What type of contest does he enter at the start of the story?
I remember that. Any guesses? You can guess, even if you haven't read the story.
I'm gonna guess maybe a pie eating contest.
Fighting contest, okay. Aaron?
It was pitching hay, trying to get it across the line, like a bale of hay or a
Yes.
pile of hay, and you had to pitch it a distance.
That is correct. Well done. Well done. Hence, cat in the hay. Although the cat, what's up with the cat, Kit?
What do you mean? What's up with the cat?
The
The
cat in the
cat is
hay.
there with
Yeah.
yeah.
I know, but I was like,
That's where she made her nest because that's what cats do.
I was like, okay, but I thought the cat was gonna be like a main character or something, and then it wasn't. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
She does show up in all of the rest of the stories, so she
Oh, that's
continues.
true. That's true. She's a recurring character. Yeah, you're right. You're right. All right. Well done, Aaron. Two right answers in a row. Okay, Philip, you good?
Sure, I can making this up. I love trivia to
Okay,
begin with.
sounds
Um,
good.
who finds Vegas? Like what type of beings? Who is it? Names, beings, anything? What kind of who are they? Who finds them? And they're two of the favorite characters I've ever written in Cozy Vales. They have got to come back.
So you'll take either names or entities.
Correct.
Okay. Any guesses? Nope.
No.
Okay. All right, Philip, hit us with the answer.
They are this pair of girls who are Tinker Gnomes. It is Karis and Quimby, and they like to talk all over each other, and they are high energy, and they like to invent and create, and they're inquisitive and curious enough to start poking unconscious ogres laying on the ground with sticks to see if they're still alive. But Karis and Quimby are just a riot, and they were a lot of fun to write.
Yeah, you know what? That came across on the page very well. I can see
Uh,
that. And would love a spinoff of the two of them.
yeah, they deserve their own story.
Awesome. All right, thank you very much. Okay, Bonnie and then Selena.
Okay, the Rosy Apple is a rune barge that travels the rivers of Medlar Vale, but I'm wondering if anyone can remember what creature keeps the Rosy Apple free of rats and mice. I'll tell you what kind of creature it is, and if you can remember the name, then I'll be hugely impressed.
I think I'm stumped on this one. This is the problem when we read all of the stories months and months and months before the anthology comes out. Just, I mean, Aaron and Raylene, like I think we were doing canonical reads of each other's stories back in April or May. Like it was so long ago. All right, any guesses at all? I mean, there's the obvious one, but I don't know if it's right. I feel like it's wrong. Okay, no guesses. Okay, Bonnie, hit us.
It is the ship's dragon, Pickle. And Pickle
Pickle.
is, yeah.
Jeez. Which, by the way, every dragon should be named Pickle. I love that.
Oh, well, he's called Pickle because of his bright green scales. That's why.
Oh, and well, okay. It would be fun if he also or she also liked pickles, but that's up to you. I'm not gonna tell you how to write your characters. All right, Selena and then Mary.
Okay, so my story revolves around the moonbell plant. It gets its name because it's bell-shaped and it blooms one night only. What color is it? And the hint is it's one of the colors in my background, my screen, somewhere in this frame.
It's white.
It was kind of a silvery white, wasn't it?
Not white.
No, silvery blue.
Closer.
I'm trying to remember. I remember just tearing through all the stories, and so they're kind of jumbling. Oh, I can't remember exactly.
You can take one more shot. Raylene, Aaron, you can give it one more shot. Any color.
Was it a pale purple?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Purple.
Oh.
Well done.
I was thinking
Okay.
background.
Yeah, that's why I tried to clarify somewhere in the screen.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Selena. We'll jump to Mary and then I'll round us out.
Okay, mine is really guessable, even if you haven't read the story. But I mentioned that Sandpiper Cove, when Penny arrives, is extremely busy. She can't get a room in an inn in the entire town. And that's because there's a festival happening. What kind of festival is taking place?
Are you looking for the exact name or just kind of some general
It doesn't
descriptor?
have like a specific name. It is a celebration related to
Harvest
fall.
celebration?
What's
Harvest
that?
celebration?
Close. It's based off of near us, we have the Half Moon Bay, this kind of festival.
Any guesses?
They do a large weighing that sometimes makes the news around here.
Uh,
And they do that in Cypress Vale as well.
as in like a contest.
Yes, for the largest every year.
Largest pumpkin.
The crab.
It is
Lobster
largest pumpkin.
fest.
It's a
Philip.
pumpkin festival. They have the Sandpiper
Okay.
Cove Pumpkin Festival with pumpkin tarts and pumpkin turnovers and pumpkin rolling contest. And
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, I knew what that was. Well, it took me a while. I won't lie. It took me a while, but
Yeah.
I got it. I got there eventually. Mine is very, very easy. I have a main character named Gimmel Stoneheart, who is a dwarf, who is a member for quite a while of a particular guild. What is the name of the guild that he is a member of? I'll give you a hint. Again, the name of the story is An Ale for Autumn.
Hebrews ale.
Close. It is a term related to brewing. I'll say that.
Distills.
No, but like you're in the
Uh,
right ballpark. You're totally in the right ballpark. This one's specific to beer, I guess, beer brewing. Aaron, want to give it a shot?
um,
Now I'm coming up with a blank. All I can think is ale or brewing, and I know that isn't right.
Yeah, so there's a particular part of the process of brewing where what you have is called mash, M-A-S-H.
mm,
And so when and this is a couple of hundred years before my character in Cozy Vales, when they discovered beer brewing in the Vales, the first guild related to beer was called the Mashers Guild. Masters
oh.
Guild. Okay, I feel like I'm channeling my inner Alex Trebek here. This is very cool. So that rounds us out for the trivia portion, and we're literally like timing this just right because it's been an hour and this is perfect. We want to do a giveaway. We would love to send Aaron and Raylene, we'd love to send you a paperback copy of Autumn Tales. So don't jump from the Zoom call, even though we're going to round things out and cut off the live stream. Don't go anywhere because we want to be able to send you a your own paperback version of Autumn Tales. Um, Anything else we want to wrap up with real quick before we, and I'm not going to go around in order if you just want to jump out scribes wise. Anything else you want to share on today's call? And, again, a big shout out to all of our readers who've been with us for almost 2 years and have supported us and have given us the just humbling milestone of, at this point, almost 60,000 downloads across just 4 books. That's insane. And so we are very, very grateful for your support. If you want to learn more about Cozy Vales, please head over to cozyvales.com. That's COZY, with apologies to our non-American writers and readers. COZY Vales.com. Scribes, would you like to round us out with any other final comments before we wrap up this virtual party?
I just wondered if the readers wanted to ask us any questions.
Love that. Yeah. Aaron, Raylene, do you have any questions you want to ask us?
Hmm. Can't really think of anything. If I'd read the book already, I might have had, but
Are there more series that are going to be continuing, or I know Scott, you
there
had
we go.
I think one book on your veil, like an actual standalone novel. Is that going to be continuing, or are the other scribes planning to come out with more, or is it more going to be concentrated on the anthologies?
Yeah, the short answer is yes. I have ideas for book two, but I haven't been able to figure out what exactly that looks like. And so I absolutely have plans to continue the series. I've already ordered the cover for book two. I have the title picked out. Jennifer is hands down my favorite character that I've created. And Appleton and all of the characters in my short stories, for example, I have 2 short stories in the anthologies that have nothing to do with Jennifer Wells, but they take place in Appleton, and it's hands down my favorite fictional place to play in, my favorite sandbox. So I absolutely intend to write more stories, and explore and figure out where Jennifer's adventure winds up. Gemma Clatworthy has her trilogy, which is complete. I have seen at least three other covers that have been submitted for approval from other scribes for stories that have not launched, their own stories that have not launched. So I can say that, I mean, for where I'm sitting, I know there are books in the works. We definitely want to continue at least one anthology a year. We might do two. We're just started the planning phase for that for next year. So there's going to be at least one more anthology next year. But I know I want to continue writing in my series, and I know that other scribes have at least begun work. If anyone on the call here feels like jumping in and talking about giving some preview publicity for their upcoming Cozy Vales novel series, please shine out.
I'm writing a story set in Mistletoe Vale called Sweeter by Half. And I've got the cover all set and everything, but it's not written yet. And it will have Flora, who is my hearth witch, who bonded with the inn in the first Autumn Tales anthology. And it will also have Sierra, who is the ex-thief, as one of the main characters as well.
All right, so your most recent story is going to be the jumping point for the series. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Looking forward to reading those stories.
Scott, can I comment?
Yeah, of course.
I know I want to do more Alec and Penny stories, but I haven't decided if they're just going to be like a string of stories in the anthologies or if they're going to be novellas. I really have to, I'm the kind of writer I have to play it out on paper and just see, is it a novella? Is it a short story? But I definitely have like a model for how that's going to play out. We might move into Capitol Vale and see where Penny lives and have Alec come from his small town environment into the big city.
Yeah, there's a character. I'm not going to spoil this, but there is a character towards the end of your story, and I'm like, I want to know what happens to that character. I am dying to find out what that character does next. So I do hope you do write that series, whether it's in the anthologies or not. I hope you continue to explore that.
I think it could be like kind of like not cozy mysteries because nobody's going to be dying, but kind of she comes in with her magical problem and they find a solution. And I'm wondering if she can help other people with their
Yeah,
magical problems.
yeah, I love that. I love that. Anyone else?
I'll be working on mine after my current project. I'm finishing up the Pyjink series right now with the last book. So my very next project is a duology with Farron and her whole story. I'm also planning on doing a series of short novels following Letty, but that's going to be after Farron's duology.
It's fantastic. And there's a couple of other scribes who are not on the call who have submitted covers for approval. So I know, again, I know we've got more in the works, but for readers, like I'm sure it's frustrating because you're like, okay, they got all these people writing, like what's going on? Like I think it's important to understand that most of the scribes are not full-time writers. They have a full-time non-writing job and they're squeezing writing in. And even then, only some of us are writing full-time in Cozy Vales. Many of us are coming from other genres, other series, like Selina's got other active series she's trying to finish. At the same time, she's trying to do a full-time job. At the same time, she's just become a mother, and she's also trying to do Cozy Vales stories. Like it's a lot. So we appreciate your patience, but yes, know that there are stories coming and there are more on the way. Thank you for asking that question, Aaron. Any other questions before we wrap things up? Okay. All right.
Hey,
Well,
Scott.
again, hey,
Scott, real quickly, I
yeah,
know that we thanked
shoot.
our readers and we owe them, the download 58,000. That's wonderful. But I'd like to thank all the other scribes who've been supportive of the
Yeah.
process of the collaboration. But Scott, especially you for kicking this all off and creating such a warm. For the readers who don't know, we don't just write cozy, but the scribes are cozy amongst each other in that we are just supportive and helpful and positive, and that's the vibe Scott wanted to write in, but also to wanted to write with. So Scott, thank you, and thank you all very much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Could not agree more, Philip. I am very fortunate that when I went to Selina's Fireside Fantasy Facebook group, which if you have not joined, you absolutely should talk about cozy. It is all about indie, cozy fantasy fiction, and it is fantastic. And it's one of the first, I guess, online cozy fantasy spaces I discovered back in 2022, summer of 2022, like right after I read Legends and Lattes and House on the Cerulean Sea. I was actively searching for cozy fantasy spaces, and Selina's group was one of, if not the first one that I found, and I joined that group. And that was where I invited the first wave of Cozy Vales authors to join. This project wouldn't be what it is if it weren't for Selina's group and for the fact that, she, curated and created and hosted her own cozy space online and Facebook. And I was able to draw from that amazing group of, in this case, authors, although it's also readers in that group. So there's a very real chance Cozy Vales would not exist the way it does today without Selina's group. So I always give props to Selina for creating that group. And it's so much time to manage a Facebook group like that. And then I think we hit a we I'm a member of the group, so I'm going to say we hit a milestone recently, didn't we, Selina? You want to
Yeah,
share?
we just hit 1,500 members recently.
Yeah, which is
So
amazing. And it is
yeah.
super cozy. And there's just so many great cozy fantasy recommendations from members in that group. That's awesome. Thank you, Philip. Yeah, I appreciate that. I hope that all of that coziness in the community comes through in our books because we really do have a great time. We have live calls once a month amongst ourselves just to do some planning and logistics, and we always end up at the end of the call talking about some sharing something personal. And it's been the highlight for me to get to know people a little bit better online. I don't think I've met any of the scribes in person. Like it's so weird. We're literally this global collection of authors around the world, and yet 2 plus years in, I still haven't met in person any of the Cozy Vale scribes, which seems weird, but it's still true. And yet we have this really cool, tight knit, close community. So it's really good. And I hope all that vibe comes through in our stories. With that, I'm going to wrap things up and allow everyone to go off and enjoy the rest of their day or evening, wherever you happen to be watching or tuning into from. And again, Aaron and Raylene, please stick around. Don't jump off the Zoom call yet. We're going to cut off the live stream. Thank you so much. We are looking forward, we being the scribes, we are looking forward to bringing you more awesome cozy fantasy stories. Thanks so much for your support so far, and we're looking forward to bringing you more. In the meantime, please stay cozy.